Good afternoon to the floor at large. First of all, I'd like to start with my rebuttal. Firstly, the sergeant, being the only member of parliament able to make the call for the police to come in and intervene, basically defeats the point of this debate. And this was only raised by third speaker of the proposition, so we didn't actually have a chance to respond to this earlier. That basically defeats the entire point of the debate, in that the members of parliament can't actually make use of the police, and so we're left in the situation we are already in. This is basically maintaining the status quo. And then to respond to what Michaela said, we have a problem with both of those issues. Police intervention will not benefit Parliament or the Republic, and the Parliament currently drowns issues in bureaucracy and stops the resolution from taking place. So we have a problem with how Parliament currently runs and with having the police intervene. The dissent spoken of serves as a method of solving issues in Parliament and cutting through the bureaucracy. On to my first point of the military nature of the police. It has been shown many times in Parliament that police intervention is in a military fashion, and this is the general way in which it is conducted. The police bring with them a police or military presence. This police presence is counter to the quorum and nature of Parliament, and is not needed in the situation, where the sergeant at arms is capable of dealing with the situation. And then dissent in Parliament is a valid method of dealing with situations. Parliament is a manifest... Yes?
Do you believe that when the speaker has to sit down, that then still counts as healthy discourse?
I believe that when you are unable to voice your opinions in Parliament and work through issues because of the rules set down by Parliament, that is when rules stop you from getting through issues.
Okay.
Parliament in South Africa is a manifestation of the people's will. The purpose of Parliament is to pass laws and make decisions regarding the running of a country. This means they actually need to get the work done and work through issues to get to resolutions. This is currently being stifled by the amount of bureaucracy and policy that must be followed. We believe that the actions of the EFF on 21st of August wasn't necessarily wrong. This sort of dissent in Parliament can be a very useful tool towards getting to resolutions and dealing with issues. This draws attention to the issue and forces you to deal with it when the current rules in place stop you from dealing with it, as you're only allowed to deal with the issue for 15 minutes and 3 follow-up questions. No, thank you. And dissension in Parliament, similar to what the EFF did on the 21st of August, poses no real threats to any members of Parliament, as nobody was actually in danger, and therefore the police were not needed and police intervention is not necessary. On the 21st of August, the right channels were not followed, and the police were called prematurely without allowing the Sergeant at Arms, a capable member of Parliament, to deal with the situation.
Okay.
On to my next point. My next point is entertainment. Police intervention creates interest and sense of entertainment in Parliament. The parliamentary channel starts to become a sort of a joke, where people watch it purely to know they might see something interesting, they might see the police removing the EFF. Having the police intervene causes interest for the wrong reasons. People aren't interested in the issues, they're interested in seeing something odd. No, thank you. Having police intervene creates a scene and causes interest that detracts from the decorum and function of Parliament and makes it more of a joke. On to my next point, abuse of power. As South Africa runs on a political party-based system, political parties each have their own agendas, and given the power to access the police in Parliament, parties will be able to use the police as a method police intervention as a method of political maneuvering to silence other parties, and be used as a method of assigning blame in issues to other parties. The party having the police called on them will immediately be blamed by the public, seeing as the police were called in to deal with them. On to my next issue, the separation of powers. Who are the police really accountable to? The chain of command leads us to the party that dominates the country at that time, since we work on a party-based system. So the police are accountable to the ruling party. The point is not what happened, no thank you. The point is not what happened with the EFF on 21st of August, but how issues like this should be dealt with. Parliamentary guards are accountable to the entire Parliament instead of one party, and therefore they are more impartial than the police could be in that situation, as they are accountable to the ruling party if you follow the chain of command.
Sir?
No, thank you. We need to show no tolerance and not fuel the revolting of a party's agenda. But we can fuel the revolting of a party in Parliament, such as the EFF did on the 21st of August, by calling in the police. Calling in the police fuels this party's agenda in that they want more attention to be brought to them. and it makes the issue that they are trying to bring up more prominent, more discussed, and more public, which really gets the party what they want. More on the separation of powers. South Africa runs a party-based system. The ruling party is the ANC. The ruling party will have control over the police. This basically means that if the police are called in, they will not be impartial, and this does not lead to healthy discussion in Parliament. And then dissension in Parliament. The dissension in Parliament is a method of dealing with issues. We don't really like the oppression of parties by the police, which is what would happen if the police were allowed in Parliament and to be called by members of Parliament. The MPs who are in Parliament represent the people who put them there. The bureaucracy in Parliament currently means that issues aren't really being dealt with. This year, laws were meant to be passed were far more delayed than they should have been, meaning that we only ended up passing 4 laws the entire year properly. No facilities to truly solve these issues is available, as the current facility to deal with issues is a 15-minute question-and-answer session where answers are not accounted, where you are not allowed to say that I did not actually receive an answer.
For shame.
Dissent is needed when rules stifle democracy and dealing with issues in Parliament. Partialness of Parliament means that other parties can be oppressed by a ruling party, and if the police allowed into Parliament, the police can be used to oppress other parties, and therefore no issues can actually be sorted out. Thank you.